Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Amanda vs. the World, where we talk about all things Disney. So you plan your trip to Disney World for a magical experience, exciting rides, and fun run-ins with your favorite Disney characters, but who knew you may actually get a history lesson along the way? Well, Liberty Square, home of the Haunted Mansion of course, could be one of the most underrated lands in all of Magic Kingdom. Well, today we're going to talk about the 5 historically significant things you may have missed in Liberty Square. Let's get to it. As you make your way over the castle's moat and into Liberty Square, you may notice a large tree just to your left. Yes, this may be the perfect spot to get some much-needed shade on those hot Florida days, but this is more than just your ordinary tree. Before the park opening, this 135-year-old oak tree was transplanted from its original location on the other side of what would be known as Magic Kingdom over to Liberty Square just in time for the park's grand opening on October 1st, 1971. This tree would become what is known as the Liberty Tree. Liberty trees originated in colonial days thanks to John Adams. In 1776, John Adams spent an evening with the Sons of Liberty, a secret organization who fought taxation by the British. This secret meeting was held under a tree which Adams later referenced as the Liberty Tree. Word of this tree and what it stood for spread across the colonies, where many of them started Liberty trees of their own. Hanging from Disney World's Liberty Tree, you'll notice 13 lanterns hanging high above. These 13 lanterns represent the original 13 colonies and pay tribute to those who fought so fiercely to give us the America that we all know and love today. The best time to view these beautifully crafted lanterns is actually at night as they glow through the branches. Be sure to look for them the next time that you're strolling through this land. Most people tend not to notice all the incredible details that Disney Imagineers add to every land in all of their parks. That's not surprising since those details are literally everywhere. One small detail in Liberty Square that is easily overlooked are the shutters on the storefronts. These shutters are all crooked, and that was completely by design. During the Revolutionary War, England ceased exporting any metal for fear that metal would be used to make ammunition. Well, this just meant that they had to become even more resourceful. Colonists began taking metal from anywhere it was available, including the hinges on the window shutters, to make, you guessed it, ammunition. Without metal for the hinges, they instead used leather and rope, which of course were less sturdy and would cause the shutters to sit at a slight angle. This small piece of history may not be the most obvious, but I love the nod that it gives to the era. While we're on the subject of windows, let's take a look at the rifles in some of the windows. Why are these here? There are actually 2 reasons for this. Of course, in the 1700s, there was no such thing as smart devices or home security systems. To deter would-be invaders from entering their homes, they would simply place a rifle in the window to let everyone know that the man of the house was home from war and it wasn't just the women and children inside. This of course didn't always keep people out, but in those days, you use what you have. The second reason for the rifle in the window is to let others know that the man of the house is armed and ready to answer the call to arms at any moment. This is also where the term Minutemen comes from. These men would be ready to fight at a minute's notice. See if you can spot this rifle in the window the next time you pass through. It wasn't until the mid-1800s that indoor plumbing became more widely used in homes and businesses. Until that time, most of the waste was collected in buckets and thrown out into the streets. I know. Ew. Well, these Disney Imagineers didn't want us to forget about this little piece of history, so they devised a plan to make a, we'll call it pathway, that runs through Liberty Square, which is of course a beautiful shade of brown. This clever addition not only guides visitors through the land, but it also gives the subtle, historic detail to remind us how very lucky we are to have modern plumbing. You gotta love it. Now, just to make sure we all remember where, or better, when we are, When we look at the map for the nearest restroom, you'll find that there are no bathrooms in Liberty Square. This, of course, is because during that time, they didn't exist. Well, Disney is quite clever and knows that it wouldn't really be in the best interest of anyone to not have restrooms somewhat nearby. Have no fear. While technically there are no bathrooms in Liberty Square, you can find hidden bathrooms in the very far back of Columbia Harbor House and Liberty Tree Tavern. So far back, in fact, that the bathrooms are technically in different lands, Fantasyland and Adventureland respectively. Those Imagineers really know how to get around those tricky situations to maintain their story. This one seems a bit obvious since the Liberty Bell replica can easily be seen as you walk through Liberty Square, but did you know that this bell was actually cast from the exact same mold as the original Liberty Bell? That's right, the Liberty Bell that sits in the middle of Liberty Square was ordered from Whitechapel Foundry in London and was cast using the same molds as the original sitting in Pennsylvania. This bell is actually the second bell to sit in Disney World. The first bell was on loan from Mount Vernon Memorial Park and Mortuary in Fair Oaks, California. The loan was intended to last 1 year, but it was so popular that Disney extended the loan and ordered their very own bell to display permanently in their park. This is the same bell that hangs in Liberty Square today. Now we have this fantastic piece of history to admire during our visits to Disney World. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you learned a little bit of history of Disney and America. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you can catch all the other fun Disney videos that I post. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.